I think if the Lions lose on Sunday, you can kiss that 1 seed goodbye. But how much you value the 1 seed, I think, is completely different based on how you feel last year ended. I'll tell you this, last 5 seasons, really since the new 1 seed and the new playoff format structure got introduced, of the 10 teams that have acquired a 1 seed, half of them have made the Super Bowl. It matters. I think I don't think any Lions fan out there should be like, I don't want the 1 seed. You need the 1 seed. But then again, it's not a must. You don't have to have it in order to win the Super Bowl. It certainly helped, though. So I'm not going to deem it a must-win, but it's about as close as it can be without being a must-win. We've only had one must-win game this year, and that was Week 2 against Chicago. We haven't had one since.
I remember. And that's based on numbers, and this is based on numbers too, right? Like the fact, if you start the season 0-2...
And then the real fear there was going to Baltimore Week 3. We didn't know how bad Baltimore was going to be.
Correct.
But
still,
Week 2 was a must-win game.
That was still a tough game to win, too, that Baltimore game. I know Baltimore played out a little differently in terms of their season, but that was a back and forth.
Still had Lamar.
Affair. Yeah, at that point. So, again, I'm not deeming it must-win based on the fact that I think there's more of a conversation if the 1 seed is still top of mind for Lions fans or if it's, hey, get in and get healthy, more so than having the home field just how it played out last year. But if you have a lot of stock in that number 1 overall seed, getting that home field advantage throughout, and as you mentioned, the fact that even if you're the 2 seed, you don't get that bye anymore. Only the 1 seed gets the bye with the playoff format. It's
meaningful.
It's going to be top of mind and very important. Again, I'm not valuing it must win, but. And I just because there's still ways to go, that's just how my mindset is, where it's like, all right, we think this is going to happen and that's going to happen in terms of the win-loss, but the NFC is just so competitive up and down. I don't know if, you're just going to lose to this Eagles team and then they're just going to roll to the number 1 seed. That might happen to the defending Super Bowl champions, but as we laid out when we previewed this game indepthly on the 10 o'clock hour, which you can go back and listen to on YouTube and on the podcast post-show, the Eagles haven't been world beaters. They haven't been this convincing team. We hold a lot of cachet in the fact that they're the defending Super Bowl champions, all the name value, but how they've beaten teams this year hasn't been convincing. It hasn't been the Eagles of last year by any stretch. The comparison I made was to the Kansas City Chiefs of a year ago in terms of, okay, former Super Bowl champions, so you hold them to a high class, but the wins are always close. There's never a big, not always close. They've had some convincing wins, but at least against competitive teams, it's always been close games, and you're just not really, they're not world beaters by any stretch. So I think the NFC.
That being said, though, how can you say they're anything further back from like the 5th best team in the NFL? You can't.
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still in that top-tier conversation.
It's just the way it's played out. And, again, like we talked about it with around the league in terms of fraudulent. You go on record. You don't look at the Colts at 8-2 is better than them. You don't look at the Broncos at 8-2 better than them. And you don't look at even any team in the NFC North better than them after the Packers game. So, yeah, like the things have played out the way they have. But if you lose.
Would you view them as the best team in the NFC right now?
No, I would view the Rams.
So would I.
And then I'd view the Lions.
I think all those 3 teams are pretty close, though.
Yeah, but I put
it's not like I put one team way ahead of the other.
If we're talking, I put the Eagles 3rd. The Eagles lost to the Giants.
They did lose to the Giants.
I watched with my own eyes. It was the best day of the season. Best day as a Giants fan in 5 years.
That's insane.
It was. Literally since the playoff game against the Vikings in 21. So, like, I saw it, I understand, Lions have lost 3 games, but not to an opponent as bad as the Giants. So I just you like we might be under different thought processes too. I don't think you kiss the 1 seed goodbye necessarily with a loss. It doesn't help.
I think it's gone. I think it's as good as gone
definitively.
Yeah, you're chasing 2 teams. One of them has a 3-game lead over you. Mm-hmm. With the tiebreaker, it's a 2-game lead, but with the tiebreaker, it's 3. Yeah,
sure.
Kiss that goodbye. And then on top of that, you're chasing another team too. Now, if you beat you want the Rams to win that because you have the head-to-head versus the Rams, and then you can try to even it up later on in the season. But if Seattle wins it and you don't even get a chance to go head-to-head against them, they're not getting the 1 seed. Then it's just about can you win the division and get a home playoff game to start the season?
Yeah.
Or to start the playoffs. which matters, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, the first round bye is more important than going on the road, I think. That first round bye, I think, is just like, it's one less game. It's a week to get healthy. I know it didn't matter last year, but we can't just like throw everything out the window because they lost last season. A lot of weird stuff happened in that game. I think Jared Goff got concussed in the middle of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Frankie Louvu destroyed him when he threw the pick. Goff didn't play very good. Nobody played great. And they got down early, and the injuries added up, and they didn't have a pass rush. I think this Lions team the defense is certainly better than it was last season. And the offense, now that Dan Campbell's taken over plays, maybe is just as good. Because I don't think until last week we could have said that this Lions offense was just as good as last year's. It was historically great in 2024. And under Morin, it just looked a little clunky. Now that Campbell's calling plays, I need to see it for more than just 1 week. But it might be time to start talking about them once again as like, okay, this is the premier offense in the NFL. Because I don't think they were that for the first 8 weeks of the season.
No.
They had week 2 in Chicago. Other than that, it was like, this is a good offense. Maybe even a great offense. But it's not the premier offense of the NFL. That was the Colts for the first 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah. No. And a win tonight goes a long way in terms of establishing that. Yeah. I will say I'm intrigued by it, or Sunday, I should say. Did I say tonight?
Yes.
Sunday. Jeez, yeah.
That's
so far
who are
away.
in action
Pistons
tonight.
and CMU, which we'll get to in the mid-morning catch. But yeah, have we gotten any feedback in terms of on the text chain with anyone talking about the 1 seed? Because I will visit. I just if we're completely disavowing it from a Lions fan perspective, that's a little tough, just based on 1 year.
Well, Brent says the 1 seed would be nice, but I've gotten the vibe that this team needs to keep playing. They seem to come out of the 1 seed would be nice, but I got the vibe that this team needs to keep playing. They seem to come out slow after the bye.
Okay.
It looks pretty good after the bye to me.
He's saying, yeah. If
you're talking
week
about
off,
the Minnesota game.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
He's saying if you give him the week off, now we're getting into kind of baseball playoff territory too, where it's like, is that layoff good for you or not? I think in football more than any other sport it is, just because you're so beat up physically.
Yes, especially in December.
Yeah, and into January, like you're gonna have guys that aren't feeling 100%. You have guys at this point in the season not feeling 100%. So to get that bye, I don't think it's like, baseball is just a different game where it's getting in the rhythm of hitting a pitch, batting practice, doing, they're just two different sports where I don't put as much value in terms of the layoff hurting you like I do in baseball.
Noah in the chat, or Noah in the text chain said, getting this one is huge. They didn't win this game last year because Ben Johnson wasn't preparing for the game. I'll die on that hill.
I just
refuse to believe that he just like for a whole week was like, no, I'm just not prepping, not invested into this one. I don't think that's